I am sitting here crying a little bit and smiling a lot. It is so wonderful to hear a story of a person much younger than me finding joy in their sport. I've been a professional sailor both before and after my transition 26 years ago, and I'm still at it. I got to give you a little bit of good news before I got before I get into the the bad and the ugly. Uh, but yeah, last night, Wednesday night racing in J24 Fleet 43, our championship series. We had two third place finishes, which left us in tied for first place for the evening, and we lost the tiebreaker, unfortunately. But it's a low point system, so we're still hanging on to a fairly good lead for the season, which is making my skipper and myself and the rest of my team really, really happy. And you know what? None of us talk about the bullshit. We just sail. I think, in my 26 years, that's what always mattered. That's what always mattered on the water, in the clubhouse, telling tales about, well, we got this righty over here and we tacked and we just crossed the fleet. We just talk. We enjoy each other's company. We enjoy the competition. And that's been the case in every sailing venue that I've competed in, and I've been all over the world. Been to Cows, been to the Caribbean, uh, been to Panama, been across seas and stuff. It's always about the sport. And now I want to show you the spoil sports. Tell you a little bit about the spoil sports, the well-funded spoil sports that are trying to take all of that away. And they don't know what they're fighting. They they are so fearful of the joy that trans people bring to their own lives and to the lives of the people around them that they just, in a mean-spirited way, want to pretend they're still in junior high school where they could bully people around. Someday, maybe they'll grow up. So, what we're talking about this evening is Leonard Leo. We're talking about the Federalist Society. You might remember Leonard Leo. Here's a little bit. Oh, I guess that's a little bit grayed out. But who really picks Supreme Court justices? This is an old story here, but you can see the subtitles. The president had an enormous. This is when Anthony Kennedy retired, and Trump had the opportunity to nominate. So here's the dude right here, Leonard Leo, and head of the Federalist Society, makes a. I almost said it. I almost said a bad word. I almost said the F word, but I'm not gonna. He makes a bundle at being a jackass. So here's the story. It's from the HuffPost. A Leonard Leo linked group is secretly funding legislative attacks on trans rights. Documents, this story broke on the 24th of June. So not all that long ago. Pardon me. Powerful figure who helped Donald Trump select Supreme Court justices. Well, I guess we know who they are, don't we? Neil, what, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett. You know, has funneled money to a group pushing gender affirming care bans. A group at the center of the conservative judicial activist Leonard Leo's network funneled $750,000 to an influential new lobbying operation that pushes anti-LGBTQ legislation around the country, new tax records show. Do no harm. Isn't it wonderful? Clean air, clear skies initiative. Do no harm. Take medical decisions out of the hands of families and put it in the hands of Leonard Leo. Do no harm. Presents itself as a grassroots association that happens to have contributed $750,000 to doing no harm. A roots association of doctors against gender affirming care and diversity efforts in the medical profession. He's taken aim at the doctors. He's taken the aim at the 28 professional associations that know what doing harm is. And doing harm is exactly what these people want to do to us, their patients. The group, which was founded in 2022, 2 years old, does not disclose its donors, but newly disclosed tax filings provided to HuffPost by Accountable US, a progressive watchdog, shows that the Concord Fund, the funding arm of Leo's network, donated $750,000 in 2022 to Do No Harm Action, the group's official lobbying effort. Do No Harm also received more than 1.4 million. So now we're talking over $2 million coming from these guys. The Project on Fair Representation, run by conservative activist Edward Bloom, new records show. Bloom, a conservative activist who helped engineer 2 Supreme Court cases that struck down affirmative action and major sections of the Voting Rights Act, is now a Do No Harm board member. So when we're telling you folks, which we do every now and again, because you know what? We're trans people. We talk about what's happening to us. And some people think that makes us trans rights activists. But no, we're not. We just want to let you all know what's going on and who's making it go on so that maybe you can do something about it. HuffPost previously revealed that Do No Harm received $1 million in seed funding to get them going, just a cool mill from Joseph Edelman, a billionaire hedge fund CEO, and his wife, Susie, nice couple, I guess, who said she considers transgenderism a fiction designed to destroy. To destroy what? I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Edelman, live your lives. I don't care. You got a nice home on the coast somewhere. You might even have a sailing yacht. You might even want my services to teach you and your husband how to sail, how to race a sailboat. I mean, I'll bet that you know some of the people and maybe hobnobbed with some of the people I have sailed for and with. And you know what they'd tell you? If you really want to up your game, you should talk to Stephanie. There are some familiar names. But since Mrs. Edelman considers transgenderism a fiction designed to destroy, I guess I'm not invited to the barbecue. Leo is best known as the kingpin of a decades long effort to pack the federal judiciary with conservative judges. As the leader of the Federalist Society, Leo assembled a vast and secretive network. Where are we? Secretive network of wealthy donors and nonprofits to amplify the power of the conservative legal movement, culminating in Leo handpicking the list of former President Donald Trump's potential nominees to the Supreme Court. While some of his efforts are highly public, like the funding of Do No Harm, others, like the funding of Do No Harm, occur with little fanfare. So here's some fanfare for y'all. The medley of conservative groups channeling money to do no harm. Remember, this is a doctors group. They're trying to affect medical decisions. Underscores the growing belief on the right that attacking trans rights is a political winner. The scale of the contributions also helps illuminate how Do No Harm became a successful influence operation so soon after its launch. Last year, this would be 2023, the group deployed lobbyists to more than half dozen states to advocate for restrictions on gender affirming care, and at least two states passed laws using its model legislative language. In Montana, Do No Harm provided the blueprint for a ban on gender affirming care for minors, which sparked furious local protests from people who were trying to do the best thing they possibly could for their children. I don't know how these people sleep at night. Honestly, it's and thankfully in Montana we have Representative Zoe Zephyr, who is there saying this stuff is bullshit. Quote, it just made the worst of the worst people here more bold in their bigotry. And that trickles down to our kids, Darcy Saffer, the parent of two transgender non binary children in Bozeman, Montana, told HuffPost last year. The law is blocked while the Montana Supreme Court weighs whether it is unconstitutional. I believe they just did. Do No Harm has also filed a host of lawsuits to block programs aimed at diversifying the medical profession. They want I mean, do you see what's going on here? They're against affirmative action. They're against. They're trying to twist medical opinion, and they're serious about it to the tune of over $2 million at this point, up till now, and we don't know how much funding they've had this year. In addition to receiving $750,000 from Leo's network, Do No Harm paid Leo's consulting firm, this is Leo himself, $231,185 for public affairs services. The consulting firm, CRC Advisors, and other for profit firms in which Leo has a financial stake, has been paid millions of dollars over the years by various nonprofits in Leo's orbit. The grift is substantial, resulting in a liberal watchdog calling on the IRS to investigate whether the payments violate rules on charitable giving. Last year, Brian Schwab, the Attorney General of the District of Columbia, opened an investigation into Leo and his nonprofit network. The scope has not been made public. Neither Do No Harm, Bloom, nor Carrie Severino, the president of the Judicial Crisis Network, a Lily alias of the Concord Fund. It's like, it's in the Cayman Islands. I mean, what the? Yeah, that word. Responded to requests for comment. No shit. Why would they? A spokesperson at CRC Advisors sent HuffPost the following statement: CRC advisors employs nearly 100 best in class professionals that put its clients' money to work more effectively than any other enterprise of its sort. And I'll admit, I'm kind of envious at how organized these assholes are. I think they're scum of the earth, but envious. And the repeated baseless attacks by groups linked to Arabella advisors show the left agrees. CRC's results speak for themselves, and we're blessed to be able to have this kind of impact in our country. A fund run by Arabella Advisors, a left leading nonprofit, initially helped launch Accountable US. After Trump left office, Leo vastly expanded his efforts to target a wide spectrum of conservative policy goals and hobby horses, which are, according to J.K. Rowling, actually shares or chaise lounges. Powered in part by the largest known political donation in U.S. history, a $1.6 billion gift from a reclusive electronics mogul named Barry Said. Leo's network is now fueling political attacks on issues including abortion access, voting rights, and critical race theory. Since 2022, the Concord Fund has received at least 55 million from the nonprofit that houses Said's gift, the Marble Trust. Do No Harm's goals dovetail neatly with Leo's expanded mission. The group has helped pay for activists and expert witnesses to travel the country, which is why you see the same people at every fucking state house, at every fucking legislative hearing, lobbying to get this garbage passed. Testifying in favor of bans on gender affirming care for minors, and we covered some of these people, these fake organizations. Ember and Dr. Jay Bundy and I did that on Jay's channel, 3 weeks ago or something. Like, phony medical organizations pretending to be an association of pediatricians when they're nothing of the sort. Do No Harm is suing. On top of fighting to restrict transgender care, Do No Harm is suing Louisiana and Montana over modest efforts to diversify their state medical boards and trying to dismantle a Pfizer fellowship designed to put more Black, Latino, and Native American medical professionals in leadership positions. Does anybody imagine that somehow the Black, Latino, and Native American communities might be better served by seeing representation in the professional ranks of the people delivering medical care? Does anyone see? And these people, they don't want that. The lawsuits represent a continuation of Blum's efforts to unravel racial equality efforts using the courts. See, now that Leonard has got its minions onto the courts, into the federal judiciary, controls the Supreme Court. He knows how to move these professional associations into bringing the lawsuits that will undo decades of compassionate care and legislation to build a more inclusive and accepting society. In 2023, a group Bloom led brought the pair of Supreme Court cases that effectively banned race based affirmative action in college admissions. A Bloom group also brought Shelby County v. Holder, the Supreme Court case that eliminated federal oversight of racially discriminatory voting laws. It's no surprise that Leonard Leo is using his vast dark money network to bankroll far right groups working to roll back LGBTQ Americans' rights. Carolyn Siccioni, president of Accountable US, told HuffPost. This is how Leonard Leo works. He leverages his web of nonprofits, bolstered by a massive $1.6 billion windfall, to carry out his radical, unpopular agenda because he knows it'll never win at the ballot box. And it's up to you and it's up to me to make sure it never wins at the ballot box. And it's up to you and it's up to me to make sure that we ask professional medical associations to stand with the science, with their patients, with their patient's family, and with their principles to fight back against bad science and worse politics. For the transpositions, I'm Stephanie Helms.